Hello, everyone. It's Wednesday. Time for a little Wisdom Wednesday. Boy, these Wednesdays roll around very quickly. I wanted to share with you a little bit about what I've been reading, and I wanted to start off with just a little snippet from one of the chapters in this book, and then I'll kind of walk you through the book and see what we can use to help us create health as we move forward. So, this one chapter in the book starts amazing breakthrough. Scientists have discovered a revolutionary new treatment that makes you live longer. It enhances your memory and makes you more creative. It makes you look more attractive. It keeps you slim and lowers food cravings. It protects you from cancer and Alzheimer's. It wards off colds and flus. It can lower the risk of heart attacks and stroke, not to mention diabetes. You'll feel happier, less depressed, and less anxious. Are you interested? Well, that's quite a lot of impressive things there. And if that were a pharmaceutical drug, we would all be on it and all be interested in investing in it. But it's something that you and I can do any and every day, and it costs nothing. And that's sleep. Getting good, restful, adequate sleep. It does all of those things. And I know a lot of you are struggling out there with getting good sleep, and or you're having to use medication. One of the things that I've learned in reading this book, and it's called Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, is that we as physicians tend to jump right into medication. One of the things that I've really tried to work with all my patients is to try to help you get good quality sleep without the use of medications. But I know many of you have to use it and have used it for years. But I think it's really important to look at this a little more in depth and consider ways that maybe you could begin to titrate off or wean off of some of these medications, because there are some long-term implications. And one of the things that he really talks about in the book is that the first thing that should be tried before going to pharmaceuticals, certainly after some of the things that we do, let's say we do L-theanine or GABA, melatonin, and you're still struggling. He's recommending, and the data would suggest that cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, CBTI is what it's labeled, is one of the best things that you can do, and seems to be 60 to 70, 80% better than even medication, because it allows you to have good natural sleep. Most programs somewhere between 4 and 10 weeks. And certainly worth it. I was just on the web today and looking at different ways to do it. There are people in Dallas, but there are also online programs, 6-week programs that can be highly effective and certainly I think worthwhile, and would be happy to help any of you who are struggling in this area. I just wanted to end with some tips that he has at the very back of his book, and I'll just kind of run through these very quickly. Most of them you are probably very familiar with and have heard many times before, but I thought I would just reiterate them so that you would just be up to date on what his recommendations might be. Number one, and this is the most important one he would say, would be to stick to a sleep schedule. And if need be, set an alarm to go to sleep. Have a set time for going to bed and a set time for getting up each day. It's much better as creatures of habit to do that. So he would recommend that you do set an alarm. And, we set alarms for getting up, but we don't ever really think about setting an alarm for going to bed. But being consistent is very helpful. So that's his number one tip, basically. Number two, recommends that you don't exercise too late in the evening. It's certainly no later than 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. Number three, and we all know this one, avoid caffeine and nicotine. They can definitely disrupt sleep. Number four, avoid alcoholic drinks. We know that certainly right now with COVID and we're stuck at home, a lot more alcohol is being consumed. So I would encourage you, if you're going to have any alcohol, be sure to finish it up. If you're drinking wine, just have it with dinner and try to finish dinner within 3 hours of bedtime. Certainly heavy alcohol ingestion can really disrupt the digestion and impair breathing at night. So you want to be mindful of that as well. Number five, avoid large meals and beverages, in addition to avoiding alcohol, because that can interfere with sleep. And drinking too much in the way of fluids can definitely cause you to have to get up at night to go to the restroom. Number 6, if possible, avoid medications that can delay or disrupt your sleep. If you're not really sure, you might have someone, either a pharmacist or your physician, go over that with you if you're struggling. Certainly, we can help from here. Number 7, don't take any naps after 3 p.m. It can definitely cause issues with going to sleep later in the evening. Number 8, try to do some relaxing before bed. Don't overschedule your day or your evening. And things such as listening to music or reading can be very helpful to help slow down rather than to be attached to any of your electronics. Number 9, take a hot bath before bed. I know I love to do that with some Epsom salts, can be very helpful. The drop in temperature after getting out of a bathtub helps make you feel sleepy and can be very calming and increasing what we call alpha waves in your brain. Very helpful. Plus, it's a good way to get a little bit of magnesium in the Epsom salts. Number 10, make sure that your room is very dark, it's cool, and free of gadgets. If you struggle with looking at the clock, turn your clock down or turn it away from you so that you don't just watch the clock. Number 11, you need to have the right amount of sun exposure. I tell folks all the time, it's really important to get morning sunlight. That blue light in the first part of the day can be very beneficial. And if you wear glasses or contact lenses, you want to try to avoid using that when you go outside early in the morning. At least before 10 o'clock, get 30 minutes of that blue light. It needs to come in straight through the pupil so that it touches the back of your retina and the back of your eye. And that allows you to set up this melatonin, your own natural endogenous melatonin for the day. So you want blue light in the morning, and I know a lot of folks are recommending using blue blocking glasses in the evenings, and that can be very helpful for those that really struggle with getting to sleep. And lastly, don't lie awake in bed. If you're still awake after 20 minutes, get up, go do something relaxing, read, listen to music, and then come back to bed when you're sleepy. Bed should be just for sleeping and not just for lying in there awake. So those were his tips. I hope that is somewhat helpful for you. If you need any help with sleep, let us know, and we'll be happy to help point you in directions. Again, the cognitive behavioral therapy might be a great option for many of you, especially if you're trying to get off any medications. If you really want to know the issues with all that, you can read the book, Why We Sleep, and he goes into great detail about why you might want to consider getting off long-term sleep meds. Even for those of you who've been on them for 20 years, it's something that's worth exploring. Our idea is that we want to not outlive our brain, and there are certainly concerns about long-term brain health, but sleep is really good for the brain. So hopefully we can continue to create health. I hope you can go out and have a great day and a great week, and we will see you next week.